Okay, usually I don't review movies like this, especially ones that just came out, like a couple months ago, and maybe if this movie was just another dumb horror flick that wouldn't give two shits about it. But The Bye Bye Man has so many obvious problems with it that I have to sit my ass down and review this. So for my 100th movie review, I'm gonna go over what's wrong with The Bye Bye Man. Now, despite this movie's title and the Big Bad Monster's name being so laughable that it's hard to take this movie seriously, I still have some hope for this thing. It could be a decent parody of the Slender Man myths. After watching, I can clearly see this movie was not going towards this direction, and by the end of this review, you will see why. It starts with this house in Wisconsin in 1969 where this guy randomly calls home, starts acting crazy, and goes on a shooting rampage. Now, I will be fine with this, but the problem here is that since we know nothing about the monster so far, you're not going to understand what's going on here. Maybe if it came a bit later, I wouldn't mind as much. But hey, that's nitpicking compared to the rest of it. So, we're currently following a generic white guy, a generic black guy, a generic white girl, and a generic goth girl who dies halfway through. I'm not saying the actors here are complete shit with their horrible acting. I'm just saying the characters they play are so forgettable that I can't even remember their names. I also care more about this movie if it wasn't so boring at times. The first 20 minutes or so are nothing really important or have nothing really scary happening. Instead to watch these characters prepare and throw a party at this abandoned house. The most scares we get here are some flickering lights, the sounds of coins falling on the floor, doors shutting for no reason, and the small world which we never really go inside, by the way. Also, whose great idea was to invite this little girl to this big, drunk college party? I mean, let's get 20 minutes in, I don't want to be here all day. So the generic white guy opens up this drawer with a bunch of weird writing on it, along with the name The Bye Bye Man. And then out of nowhere, the goth girl wants to do a seance, which for some reason reminds me of the Ouija movies. The generic white guy decides to really test the goth girl to see if predictions are really true, until she starts having this mental breakdown.
Don't say it, don't think it, don't say it, don't think it, don't say it, don't think it, don't say it, don't think it.
Then, as soon as the generic white guy says the Bye Bye Man, all the lights shut off, and they go back on. And that's it. And during the middle of the night, the generic white guy and the generic white girl hear weird noises. And that's it. Yeah, the first problem with this movie is that there's barely anything scary in it. Well, except for one thing. Jump scares!
What the f...
Seriously, if jump scares are the best you can come up with to make a movie scary, then your movie's not really scary. At most you might jump up for a quick second and that's it. And trust me, the more jump scares there are, the less scary your movie's gonna be. And this movie does have the potential to be a creepy movie, involving a bunch of frightening things that only you can see. Seeing and hearing things that aren't real or aren't really there can be a really scary thing. You may take a look at the story for Spec Ops The Line, for instance. But all the imagery here is just used for random jump scares. If they really put a lot of effort into this, they could have pulled this off. But then again, who's gonna take a movie titled The Bye Bye Man seriously, right? The 14th here starts to see and hear strange things, and the generic white girl develops a cold for no reason at all. Also, these feel a little touch between the generic white guy and the generic black guy, because this generic black guy is going to the generic white girl. You know, it'd be really interesting to play a drinking game of how many times I say the word generic. Eventually, they all start to realize what is going on. So the generic white guy goes to do some research at a library, and the librarian there reveals some more information on the Bye Bye Man.
Accused of murdering his own family and 4 other youths. When asked by this reporter why he would do such a thing, he replied, "The Bye Bye Man made me do it." It's an article about a kid who went crazy, but it was never published.
And Larry Redmond, the writer, he was pretty infamous locally. After he killed this piece about the kid in Deerfield, Larry Redmond took a shotgun and murdered 8 friends and family members right here in Madison.
Okay, I have a few questions. Why didn't the reporter go nuts just like the writer did? Or any other editors or people who just managed to look at the article? Also have a strange feeling that this name was mentioned before 1969, or could have been mentioned more than once or twice in an article in a newspaper. It has to be mentioned more if the curse is that easy to spread. I'm trying to get behind this backstory, but it only brings up more questions than answers. That's how flimsy this explanation is. So, after a few more encounters with the jump scare man, he decides to get some help from the generic goth girl until he starts seeing a family in the middle of nowhere and ends up getting run over by a train. I would feel more sorry for her, except the fact that most of the deaths in this movie could have been prevented. And it starts here. So the goth girl runs towards her family, right? And then she randomly stands in the middle of the fucking train tracks, just waiting to be run over. Even if there was no train coming, I wouldn't be dumb enough to stand on train tracks where there'd be a possibility of me being run over. So the other teens come over to comfort the generic white guy, and he wants the generic white guy to swear he will never say the name to anyone else. Then he immediately starts going crazy on him until a detective comes by to break them up, and she reports that people saw the generic white guy chasing the goth girl with a bloody hammer. And they also are having more visions until the detective separates them so he can interview the generic white guy even further. I'm not sure why she's just supposed to review him instead of all three of them, but hey, maybe this just might be nitpicking, so moving on. The detective talks to him and he gives out this weird explanation on why he can't give out the name because he wants her to go home and protect her family. And after everything he said, she just lets him go. For no reason at all. In real life, if something like this happened, I'm pretty sure they would lock him up or at least hold him for further questioning. Man, lady, you are really bad at your job. The generic white guy goes home to see the generic black guy and the generic white girl in bed together, only to find out that it wasn't real either. Also, the librarian calls him and she starts going all psycho too. You know how it's kind of odd how this curse really works, and the further you go into this movie, it makes less and less sense. The generic white guy then goes to the editor's wife for more information on how she survived all this time. In terms of the only reason she isn't crazy is because she never heard or seen the name. By the way, this is his real wife, and I guess the one from the beginning was just her neighbor. Sorry about that, my mistake. They found the only way to stop the curse from spreading is to kill everyone who knew the Bye-Bye Man's name, including themselves. The generic white guy tries to come up with another way, but his visions start catching up with him, which resulted in the death of the librarian. Things get tense over the house too, but the generic white girl sees the generic white guy, and the generic white guy sees the dead goth girl. All this ends up with the generic white girl being killed, and the generic white guy slowly bleeding to death. Hey, wait a minute. A few minutes ago, he realized he couldn't trust anything he saw or heard, but then randomly starts trusting everything he sees and hears. Maybe he could have at least told the both of them this, and it would be perfectly fine. But nope, we can't have any of that. Okay, what the hell is this? Yeah, as you can easily see, this movie also has really shitty CGI that I swear came out of a video game. Look at this shit. How can you possibly take any of this seriously? Then the Bye-Bye Man gets generic white guy a glimpse that he will go after his dad and his daughter next, and does whatever it takes to keep him out of the house.
Both of you need to go! Ellie, open the goddamn door, I'm calling the police. Good, do it!
You know, he could have mentioned there was a burglar inside the house and then told him to call the police, instead of pulling out this crazy ass shit. This is the really anticlimactic showdown where he has to face the Bye-Bye Man for a couple of seconds before he shoots himself.
This boy ran the librarian over, mutilated and murdered her children, and then killed his roommates and himself, and you had him in custody today, but you let him go?
Again, this lady is really bad at her job. Then the movie ends with a generic black guy, who should have bled to death from his fucking wounds already, tells the detective the name, and all this is bound to happen again. What a piece of shit. So as you can see, the Bye-Bye Man turned out to be really stupid. With flat characters, a confusing backstory about a generic monster, bad special effects, and overall many elements and plot points that didn't make sense. It could have been handled a lot better with the right people behind it, but this is what we ended up getting. And yet the movie still made a decent profit, despite the poor ratings. And if you want to watch a good adaptation of the Slender Man, just watch the documentary based on it. Or read the creepypastas based on him. How can I really tell an actual movie based on him that's coming out next year will be better than this? And that was my 100th movie review. I may or might not do this more often, I don't know, but you should definitely look forward to more review of Seconds videos. But until then, It's Sweet Teen Chili here, and Chili Incorporated, I guess, sign out.